Let's watch when Rachel Maddow talks about, in the book, she talks about why she didn't pick Pete Buttigieg. And she says that she didn't pick him because he's gay.
Yeah, I remember.
So watch now. Rachel Maddow is going to bring that up to her and ask like how she, and talk about how she felt about it because she is part of that community. Mm-hmm. So let's check this out.
If his reaction to that, since this part of the book has come out, if you've had any reflection on that, or I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear with you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president. You're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay, it's hard to hear.
No, that's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump, who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for president of the United States, and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
So you're saying that you couldn't pick him because he was gay?
Yeah,
like,
that's why
you just said it again. And then I love how she always starts with everything like, I was very clear. You're never very clear.
Listen. He would have been a better pick than Tampon Tim.
Listen, the funny part was so many memes of people saying like, you didn't want to pick a gay man, so you picked Tim Waltz.
Yeah,
like,
the weirdest guy. He was so weird.
Like the irony of that situation where you actually did. But well, no, I want to keep going on this because you can see that she's trying to get around it. She's saying that's not what I said, but then going back to that is what she said.
I honestly think that she would have done better.
I think she would have too,
with
especially on the left.
Yeah,
they would have been eager to vote in a gay vice president.
Yep.
How I've been an advocate and an ally of the LGBT community for my entire life. It wasn't about right. So it wasn't about any prejudice on my part, but that we had such a short period of time. And the stakes were so high. I think Pete is a phenomenal public servant. And I think America is and would be ready for that. But when I had to make that decision with 2 weeks to go, and maybe I was being too cautious, I'll let our friends, we should all talk about that. Maybe I was. But that's the decision I made. And I, as with everything else in the book, I'm being very candid about that. Yeah. With a great deal of sadness about also the fact that it might have been a risk.
I think she thought she thought that Tim Walz was something that he wasn't.
I don't think she knew who the hell Tim Walz was. I think
that's what I'm saying.
I think her team pitched him to her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's so progressive. They gave him the points about him, like, oh, he did this, he passed this in his state, he cares about tampons in the boys' bathroom. And she said, wow. So he and they're thinking about the
if that's a pitch to you.
They're thinking about the straight white male demographic that they needed to do better with.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he looks like he claims that he goes hunting. He's gonna get that side.
Yeah.
The older
he works on cars, like all that stuff.
No,
but then
he's a football coach.
Yeah. No, man, did they drop the ball with that one?
They dropped the ball, man. That dude is
strange.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Even the way he comes out, he just I don't know.
I know.
I don't like making fun of people, but it's
let's just say that they made a bad decision with that one. So here she is on The View, claiming that it was one of the closest elections of all times, even though she lost like 312 to 220, something like that.
If you have to pin it down to one thing, what was the primary reason, do you think, that you lost?
There are many factors, I think, that
yes, that is
that
true.
Election. But
Very,
I think
many
probably
factors.
one of the biggest in my mind is we just didn't have enough time. We didn't have enough time.
Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't.
And, one of the reasons I wrote the book is this is unprecedented. Think about this, that there's a race for president of the United States. The current sitting president is running for re-election. 3.5 months from the election, he decides not to run. The sitting vice president then takes the mantle, running against a former president of the United States. Yeah.
With no primary. You were appointed as the nominee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
nobody voted for you.
It was unprecedented. Yeah. No one voted for you. They took Biden out because he performed so hard. They couldn't cover up his dementia any longer. Yeah. They couldn't cover up his failings any longer. So they forced him out. And then there was a back and forth about who was going to take his place. And you threw a fit. And basically they realized that they were going to lose all of that donor money unless they appointed you. So let's be real about what happened.
Who had been running for 10 years with 107 days until the election. And by the way, another piece of what is unprecedented and a bit historical about that race, it is the closest presidential race in the 21st century in terms of the outcome.
Wow. Say that again. Because we like to say over and over again, he got a mandate.
Well, and that's part of why I wrote this book.
Somebody fact check her.
Bruh.
Fact check. Because didn't we deal with Gore and Bush?
Yeah,
wasn't that like
there was a recount.
really close?
Let's see. I'm gonna ask Rock right now.
If it's that close, how come Trump won all those swing states? He flipped so many states.
They're always gonna try to make.
They gaslight. So I just asked Grok. No, the 2024 U.S. presidential election was not the closest in history, but by either the popular vote margin or the electoral college margin. It ranks as the 4th closest by popular vote margin since 1900 and the 11th closest overall since the first recorded popular votes in 1824. By electoral college margin, it was comfortably decisive, ranking 13th closest out of the 59 elections. So it wasn't even in the top 10. Below, I'll break this down, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to break it down. Like, they're just gaslight. They just lie constantly.
Yeah, even ChatGPT says, I just put what are the top 3.
Yeah.
And it's well, first they say electoral, which would be number 1 is 1976, Hayes versus Tilden.
Yeah.
1870. I'm sorry, because I'm like, wait, where is Hayes?
Right, Hayes, 1976.
Yeah. 1824, Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson, and then number 3 was George and Al Gore. That was electoral, and then popular was 1880, and then 1960. John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. That was number 2.
Wow. Yeah. So not even close.
So yeah.
See how
and then number 3 again, popular was George Bush, Al Gore. So
yeah, that's the most, to me, the most standout.
Well, because it was in our lifetime.
Yeah,
and it's the closest one in the last 100 years. All the other ones were 1800s, like you just said.
And nobody remembers that.
Yeah. So.
But
yeah.
you see how y'all just did that really, really quick.
Yeah.
You know,
real quick.
And I know she's just taking points from her team or whoever.
But why would you want to? Why would you want to regurgitate stuff that you know you're going to look dumb for saying?
Yes,
people are gonna drag you for saying stuff that's not true, like it's a matter of fact. And then the dumb lady sitting next to you says, "Say that again," because he likes to say it's a mandate.
That's not nice, Jamie.
Well, she called her husband dumb.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, this is why though. Like they lose, man. How many people can just go and look it up in a couple seconds? You can't. If anybody's gonna sit and listen to you, and especially like when they know your track record and just listen and not question it and not look it up, then those are the people that are gonna just blindly vote for you anyway.
Yeah.
But I bet you, Charlemagne and the rest of them on the Breakfast Club will be saying that tomorrow, that it was the closest election in U.S. history. You know what I mean? And they'll just keep regurgitating those talking points to the rest of their base.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, again, like, is there a kickback? Is there some media thing going on there, right?
Could be.
Maybe.
Absolutely could be.
Who's pushing it behind the scenes for them? Because the way that Charlemagne even did that interview with her was crazy.
Yeah.
During the election, like no pushback whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was the worst interview. So and it's funny how he didn't get more slack for that.
Yeah, I know.
Pushing back.
Really bad.
I think people were happy about that because again, a lot of the Breakfast Club audience is black women, and they do not want no pushback against Kamala Harris. Yeah. Talking about pushback, let's go to a clip of Stephen A. Smith kind of dragging her.
Who cares what she has to say at this particular moment in time? I hope the book is successful. When you had an opportunity as the Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States of America to address so many different issues, and instead what you did was go into protective mode. You wanted to show your loyalty or what have you, and then you lose the election. And what you want to do is point out all the reasons that you didn't win and point the finger of blame, it seems, in everybody else's direction instead of yourself. I don't think that she's going to have any support from the Democratic Party. I can tell you that much. And then you have to take into consideration the level of support that she had coming in. This is an individual that was, that was used to bypass what some would say the democratic process is. There was no primary. Yes, Joe Biden was awful during that debate, that June 27th. Yes, he ultimately stepped away in July. But if you talk to many people within the Democratic Party, they were talking about how this was all part of the plan, because had he departed significantly earlier, when we all saw slippage in him, as far as I was on the record a year earlier, seeing the slippage, had he departed, there would have been a Democratic primary. She would have had to compete to be the Democratic nominee. And there were people who did not want her to do that because clearly they didn't believe. Whether it was Gavin Newsom, whether it was Barack Obama or somebody else. And it seems like she knew it. And that was the kind of feedback she received. And to talk about all of that now, post-election loss, nobody wants to hear that. That's whistling into the wind.
I got to say, just quickly on this, she didn't speak up, but neither did Josh Shapiro, neither did Gavin Newsom, neither did everybody just kind of stood by and.
You know, no, John. Don't do that. Don't do that. Josh Shapiro is the governor of the state of Pennsylvania. He has a job. He's in office, okay? The reality is that you were the vice president. You were swearing up and down that you were in the room for all the major decisions, and then come to find out you're acknowledging that that was not the case. So if you're an American voter, which I am because I am no politician, I am an American voter. I am a conscientious observer, and I'm hearing this stuff from you now, which was opposite of what you were verbalizing to America in pursuit of their vote. Now that you're trying to sell a book and we're hearing a totally different tune, all I'm trying to say to you is that folks are going to remember that, and you weren't that strong of a candidate before. Respectfully, remember, she didn't make it to Iowa in 2020, okay? And then in 2024, you lost every swing state. You lost a popular vote for the first time since 2004. Nobody wants to hear it now. I believe her political career is over.
Yeah, and
People know that you're not honest.
you sat there. They asked you straight up if you noticed anything about Joe Biden's mental decline. You said no.
No.
You said he was fine. You said he was great. You said Joe is the sharpest. You know, that
You
sharpest
remember that?
attack.
Remember that wave of like you just saw the media just like he's as sharp as
Yeah.
ever. Everybody's talking about how sharp
Sharp as
Joe-
attack.
He's sharp as attack.
That was the
he
talking
answers
points.
The question
Yeah.
like if he's sharp, then why is everybody trying to convince? It felt like you're trying to convince me.
Yeah.
To believe that.
Yeah. But then that's why for after the fact, for you to complain about the way it was all handled and act like you're some kind of victim and then say like, now you want to tell the truth about the situation. We don't want to hear it. Just like that book that Jake Tapper and them wrote. Like you were one of the main ones peddling this fraudulent.
You have it? You have the clip?
Yeah.
You have the clip of Donald Trump saying there's fine people on both sides?
Yeah.
Now it's not.
Guys.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yes.
What, Jake?
Guys.
Yes.
I think we're missing it.
What are we missing?
We're
Tell us.
missing that the key word that they always use and they go to is empathy. Say it with me. Empathy.
Empathy. Say it with me,
Okay.
guys. Empathy.
But seriously, it's so funny that like that was the thing they were attacking from Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what they do. So it's only right that she would turn on them because she's looking for the public. She's looking for empathy from the public. Right.
Uh-huh.
Now look, this is why empathy is such a bad word. I want you to understand the etymology of this word. Right. It's actually a assimilated word. So it's like not a real word. You know, it's like something put together.
Yeah.
And it comes from the Greek "en," which means in, and then pathos, feelings. Yeah, in your feelings.
Yeah, in your feelings. Wow.
In your feelings.
And I want you
Isn't
to
that
be
crazy?
in my feelings too.
Yeah. So literally, like, it's to get. That's why sympathy or even compassion is totally different,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Because empathy is like it's like a manipulation,
Yeah,
right? Like,
right.
when you're in your feelings, what are you gonna do? You're gonna point the finger,
Mhm.
right? You're gonna try to get people on your side, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what it's about. Compassion is more about, and even sympathy is more about understanding how people could be where they are.
Right.
Right. Compassion is, you know what, that person just punched me in the face, but but I can understand where they're coming from because of why, or I can understand why they did that because of where they're coming from or where they might be coming from. And that's understanding, and then that leads to having compassion for somebody, right? And of course, that's something for us that's why it doesn't make sense to most people, right? But to believers, God teaches us in these instances where we have the right to just judge somebody, right? They're dead wrong. But what happened in their life? And even with this, like, what got Kamala to this state? What got Kamala to the state that she lies and lies and lies and lies? Because that's what she's been doing the whole time. But what got her there? And that's
the fact that it keeps advancing her career. She found out that
it's been working.
It's been working. She continues to advance. She continues to,
but
quote,
even
unquote,
deeper than
succeed.
that, even deeper than that, what is going on with her that makes her feel like she has to do that? There's something deeply rooted in fear, in proving herself.
Insecurity, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these things we can get to if we have not empathy, because empathy can't get there.
Right.
Right? But understanding, compassion, these sympathy for people, like, and then that changes the game. So, and I'm saying this because look at how many people came at Charlie Kirk for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing the left eats their own.
Yeah.
You know, we've said that over and over again. The left eats their own. Why? Because the moment, it's just like a bad household, like a bad family. The moment something happens, you turn on them. The moment you feel offended, you feel like somebody did something to you, right? It's like our kids. Like if our kids, we teach our kids how to grow up by not pointing the finger at each other.
Yeah.
By dealing with their issues and not, daddy, they did this, but it's not fair because they did. No, we're teaching them, hey, the ultimate thing is you got to love your brother. And sometimes you got to look past, why did he do it? Why did you, like, how do we deal with conflict?
Mm-hmm.
And the left is doing the opposite. They're always trying to get us in conflicts.
Yeah.
And that's what empathy does.